Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's the Monday after Week 5 in the NFL. We're doing our regular Monday call with SBR contributor Dave Golokhov to find out what he learned from watching the games on Sunday that might shed some light on betting value going forward. Dave Golokhov, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, Pete, how are you?
I'm good. All right, let's just start right into it. The first thing everyone learned, right? The whole world learned it. The Pats are not cooked. They're basically the same old Pats, right? Or not?
Yeah, I think the obituaries were written a little bit prematurely. Everybody had the tombstones, engraved already. Look, this team has some flaws. They're built differently than what we've seen in the last couple of years. But I think they're going to get better as the season goes. Built differently, what I mean is they used to be offensive-minded. Now they're going to be sort of ugly on offense and get the job done on defense. And yesterday the offense showed up. It was a complete game. So, no, the Pats are not done. I think they'll get better as the season goes.
I mean, I guess the main question is just, are the Patriots going forward going to look more like the team that they were against Cincy this week, or the team that they were before that week when they were, getting blown out by KC?
I think somewhere in the middle. I really don't think that this is an awesome team. I really don't think they're a piece of trash like they were the week before. So, contrasting the 2 weeks, I think they're somewhere in the middle. I think that when their offense works, i.e. when they're protecting Tom Brady, when they can run the ball, when the game is not completely on his shoulder, I think they'll be decent. But, the running game hasn't been there every week. The protection, he's been sacked so much every week except for this week. So I think it's going to be tough, for them to look like this team that they just did on Sunday Night Football every week. But I think they're going to be better than a lot of people think. I don't think they're, like a marginal playoff team, a wild card playoff team. I think they still win the AFC East comfortably.
All right, well then it's going to be an interesting handicapping situation 2 weeks from now when they when they host the Jets at home on Thursday night. And the Jets, the next team that I want to talk about. I mean, there's no way that the Jets are actually as bad as they looked against San Diego this past week, right?
No, I actually disagree. I think we've talked about this. I think this team is toast. I really do. I think Geno Smith or Michael Vick. Geno Smith is a piece of trash to begin with. Michael Vick is crap as well. I mean, that guy, you can put an obituary up on his career. But what we saw on Sunday was really that this team is lacking in a number of areas. The defense, we've used to seeing Rex Ryan coach up these defenses where they can hang on and sort of support a bad offense. They can't do that anymore. They're not at that level. The running game sucks. The offensive line sucks. There's just too many flaws on this team, and I think they're starting to tune out Rex Ryan. I would not be wagering any money on this team at all right now, at home, on the road. Here's the conversation that we had. I told you that Geno Smith anywhere on the road, I'm not betting. That was after the Packers situation. They go on the road, they go up 21-0, and they end up blowing that game rather easily. So Geno Smith on the road, I don't trust him. I don't trust the Jets anywhere right now. Their offense is flawed, and the defense can't hang on. So I think that's really the situation for them.
All right, so then I guess what you're saying is that what we learned about the Jets is that when they have these scary underdog lines, plus 7.5, whatever their line will be at the Pats, that what we learned is that don't be afraid, bet against them, even though it's going to be a big line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, San Diego sleptwalked through that game, and they still won 31-0. I mean, how often nowadays does an NFL team get shut out, flattened, completely pulseless? That's what the Jets looked like. And we're in week 5? I don't think it really gets much better for them. It's funny, they're not out of at the same time, they're really not out of the playoff race, but I just think that this team, they just look flat. They just look disinterested. They look incompetent, and they look like they've tuned out their head coach.
All right, and then let's talk about the other side of the coin here, the Giants, right? 3 covers in a row, 3 straight games, scoring 30 points or more. Oh my God, are the Giants awesome now?
No, Giants are not awesome now. It's funny, we're tempering expectations, but these are the conversations that bettors have every week. It's like, oh, the Giants looked amazing. I got to lay the points with them or whatever. Look, they actually did not look amazing yesterday. If anybody watched that game from start to finish as I did, the Falcons were actually in control of we'll say 60% of that game. Giants made a good comeback. Falcons, I actually think the Falcons have no business losing that game, but the Giants, give them credit. They're running the ball better. They're taking the pressure off Eli Manning. His weapons are working. The passing game's working a little better. And I do think the one overlooked thing with this team the entire year has been the defense. It hasn't been bad. It's been, above average, I'd say. They're a decent unit. And I think that, they showed up and held up well against a very good Falcons offense yesterday. So I think Giants, they're to me, not amazing like they looked the last 3 weeks, but I think they're now getting into the point where you consider them a wild card team or consider them as a potential playoff team in that conversation there. So I'm impressed the last few weeks, but we got to see more.
Well, we don't really care if they're a wild card team or not. We care about betting value. And this week, plus 2.5 at Philly, and then next week they'll be at Dallas, where they'll be, a similar sized dog, maybe 3.5 in that one. Do you think that they're good enough to have betting value as a dog of that size against those teams?
Yeah, I do like them against Philadelphia this week. We got to talk about Philly at some point in this call, but the Giants, to me, are a team that's trending upwards, even if it's slowly. The Eagles, to me, are a team that's trending downwards, even though, they're 4-1.
All right, well, the next theme I want to talk about is the Panthers, and you seem like you have a pretty good read on the Panthers. You said you weren't that, enamored of the Panthers in general, but you did like them enough to get a cover against the Bears last week, and that did, in fact, happen. They got a 7-point win, and they were only about a 3-point favorite, but now they're a 7-point road underdog to Cincinnati. Then they go into Green Bay, and then they're at home against Seattle, and that's a very tough 3-game stretch, although, of course, their lines will be inflated. They're getting 7 points against Cincinnati. So what's your read on the Panthers right now in light of their win and cover against the Bears?
If push came to shove, I would lean towards taking the points with Carolina. I think it's a little bit too much considering they have a quality defense and the Bengals are banged up on offense. If Carolina's defense shows up, we get an ugly, maybe 14-10 type of game and you're getting 7 points. But other than that, other than a very slight lean towards the Panthers here, I don't have a great read. Probably under, actually.
The point is that, Carolina had 2 awful games. Then I guess you would consider the last game to be a bounce back. Do you anticipate that going forward they'll continue to bounce back or regress back to how they were 2 games ago?
I think they're a decent team. They're middle of the pack. Again, I don't expect them to go on the road to anywhere like Cincinnati and get the win. But when they're getting enough points, I think they can cover at home. Similar situation, quality defense. A little bit undervalued team. If they're a little bit undervalued team, laying 2.5, 3 at home against a quality opponent, no problem. But laying 6, 7 against anybody with some teeth, I would definitely stay away.
All right, so it sounds like over the next 6 games, you're expecting maybe 4 covers?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, again, we'd have to look at the numbers here.
All right, and then I want to ask you about Cleveland. The Sharps were supposedly on Tennessee early in the week, but then Cleveland got steamed, and they wound up, of course, winning that game. They covered the opener and the midweek spread. They got a push on the closer. Now they're 2-0-2 against the spread on their closing lines. They're -2 against Pitt this week. Then they go on the road at Jacksonville, then back home against Oakland. So that's a relatively easy 3-game stretch. Do you think that Cleveland's a team we want to be looking to bet on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of good things about them. Great offensive line. They seem to be able to run the ball on pretty much anybody. You have to give them credit. And the defense is decent. They've been in pretty much every game this year. Look at the numbers. They probably should have waved the white flag in week 1 against Pittsburgh. Knowing Cleveland, that they easily should have thrown in the towel in that game, getting blown out. They come all the way back. Had a good chance to win. Then they beat New Orleans. Probably should have beaten Baltimore. And then they win last week, or they win on Sunday. In another game where you say, I mean, listen, the old Cleveland Browns is a team that would, they quit. So a lot of credit to them. They're getting it done with a banged-up Jordan Cameron and no Josh Gordon. This is a quality team. A lot of people don't want to give them credit. I'm willing to give them some credit. I like them this week. I'm going to like them against Oakland. And I think you mentioned Jacksonville after that. I mean, this is a team that you should be considering for betting purposes pretty much on a weekly basis, at least in those 3 games.
All right, Dave Golokhov, that's all that I want to specifically make sure that we got to. Is there anything else from the Week 5 results that you think is worth noting?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to talk about the Eagles. I mean, this team 4-1, right? They're 4-1 on the records, but I mean, you got to be concerned with this squad. Nick Foles does not look like the same guy from last year. LaShawn McCoy does not look like the same guy. I mean, LaShawn McCoy is probably up to like 65 rushing yards on the year. He's been horrible. And then, of course, what is it, 7? Now, I think it's 7 special teams or defensive touchdowns now. Like, to me, there's a lot of things that are going on with the Eagles right now in terms of like they're catching a lot of breaks, turnovers being one of them. If those things start to go sour, this is a team that's gonna come back to the median average. I think they're about a 500 team right now. I need to see that offensive line start to play better. I need to see LaShawn McCoy drop like $150 or 200 yards on somebody before I really start to invest in this team on a week-to-week basis in terms of their betting lines.
All right, Dave Golokhov, thanks for your insights once again. We'll talk to you next week.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.